Like Niagara Falls, fear and stress are powerful, primitive forces. Unfortunately, most of the time they are destructive in our daily lives. But like the hydro companies who harness the river's incredible energy, we can take our fear energy from our fight-or-flight system and put it into production in our daily lives. My name is Michael Clarkson. Some people call me the Fear Doctor. I've been studying stress and fear for 25 years. I've studied daredevils, CEOs, and arguably the 500 most influential high achievers in the world, from Ted Turner to Oprah Winfrey, and found that they tap into their fight-or-flight system for production. But this phenomena is not just left to high achievers. We can do this in our daily lives. And for this, I've come up with a formula which I call hyperflow. Advanced brains is a primitive fight-or-flight system capable of amazing things. But we still react to challenges the way caveman reacted millions of years ago with fight or flight, like he reacted physically to saber-toothed tigers. Today we can feel this adrenaline rush and we can feel this arousal and tension. Since 1988 I've been studying fear. My wife says I talk too much about arousal. Michael, get away from me, it's not your birthday. That having been said, inside each of us is an inner fire capable of amazing things. The problem today is that we react to things not physically but socially and professionally, and thus the great problem we have with tension and distress. Now, high achievers have learned to channel this inner fire for production, this fear energy. However, they do it through trial and error. What I have done, I stumbled across this years ago studying police officers who talked about how gun battles seem to happen in slow motion, and discovered that this was a phenomena of fight or flight called tachypsychia, nature's way of giving you, in a life-threatening situation, the action one frame at a time in order to deal with it. Now, I have brought this to everyday life situations in a formula that I call hyperflow. In hyperflow, you take your fear energy and translate it into whatever it is you're doing. You focus those hormones, that adrenaline, that testosterone, into a relationship problem, into a budget or deadline meeting, into a type of athleticism. But there has to be a certain type of flow to this arousal. Hyperflow is about getting into the zone of peak performance. We can see it more often in sports because it is very physical. However, we can also use it to create more room and time in pressure situations in the office. During an international event in Los Angeles, I found myself choking under the pressure of deadline. So what I did was I used brief controlled anger to change my hormonal chemistry from too much adrenaline to a more proactive mix of testosterone and noradrenaline and endorphins. I can't prove it scientifically, but I seem to go into the zone of hyperflow. Mentally, I seem to have more room and time. I seem to be watching myself from above. And indeed, I did have more room and time. I put that fear energy into my skills of interviewing and typing, and I made deadline. My name is Michael Clarkson. I can speak to your company about this, and also I talk about how to worry without getting a migraine. And in our fast-paced society, a very popular topic is coping with change. Not exactly this kind of change, but is that a quarter? Ooh, ah.